Time to play some stuff.
Good Main's Log, number 102515. Why I'm keeping an adventure journal is anybody's guess. Why I'm starting this off with a random number instead of 1 is also anybody's guess. I'm sure people think I'm crazy enough just for being out in these cursed jungles. But here I am, and I have a mission to do. The jungle campaign was off to a rip-roaring yet very rocky start, as the pride of the Pact, our entire airship fleet, was utterly decimated in a matter of hours. Apparently, this plant dragon Mordramoth can shoot vines out of the ground so fast that it can strangle ships in midair and bring them down. Kind of like a twisted plant version of the Kraken you hear about in so many tales told by sailors about adventures on the high seas. Nonetheless, jungle warfare was something that we needed to get used to. All of us. It became apparent very early on that the warfare that we once knew just wouldn't work in the jungle. And we needed to come up with a new strategy, a new way of waging war, to match the sweltering humidity and all kinds of other problems that we had once we got into the jungle. It was not a pretty start to this campaign indeed. Finally, the combined ingenuity of the Knights of my order, as well as some very knowledgeable Asura, came up with a very unique solution for our situation. Armor that looks and functions very similar to jungle clothing, yet retains all of the protection of full plate. Unfortunately, it also retains the weight of plate mail, so you need to be able to handle plate armor in the first place in order to properly wear this stuff. But it's interesting what our minds could think up. As for the whole bow and arrow thing, I understand it is not very knightly, but for those of us who had been fighting evil for a long time, not only was it a new jungle environment, but we were seeking justice with a twisted plant dragon that had murdered so many innocent people. It was only logical that going into the jungle seeking justice and retribution, that we Guardians would come up with a method of combat that combined together the former knightly ways that we were known for with a little bit of what Rangers are known for. Although if I had a little piece of copper for every single Ranger that laughed at us and told us to put our tin suits back on, I'd probably be rich by now, and not here in this jungle. Definitely an interesting take on fighting with a bow and arrow when mixing it together with our traditional Guardian abilities. But it got us a couple of laughs, but I imagine we will one day have the last laugh when we prove our worth with the bow, and the Rangers are left scrambling. However, old rivalries cannot sabotage this campaign. There have been too many lives lost already, and far too many lives at stake. However, despite us Guardians turned Dragon Hunters exploring all these new ways of waging warfare in the name of righteousness, there were still signs of our knightly past. I happen to bring along my trusty hammer, whereas most ranger types would bring daggers or an axe to throw or even a sword. I decided that when monsters got in too close, I would bust out my trusty hammer and start smashing them all over the place. Yes, indeed. It's not like we had to give up all of our old ways to get used to this new jungle warfare. Jungle warfare was a set of changes unto itself. You had to make more use of the terrain, hide in bushes, use more line-of-sight techniques, and even use gliders. Yes, the Maguma jungle's unforgiving terrain is absolutely off the charts in terms of needing alternative ways of getting around. You can't get anywhere in the jungle without a glider. Some people brought paper gliders, or at least they look like paper from a distance, and the rest of us, myself included, brought along magical mementos and relics. My own, a gift from my one and only before I embarked on this mission. It basically makes bird wings appear out of nowhere. Well, she calls them angel wings, but I'd rather not have people going, ha ha, look at the Guardian with the angel wings. So, no, I like to reckon myself to the legendary aviator Icarus from all those stories. Except I won't be flying too close to the sun, poor fellow. I had also seen people with magical relics of a darker persuasion sprouting bat wings. Or maybe it's because it's the Mad King's time of the year right about now. I've thought about getting some of those, but I think the necromancers have probably made those things sell out by now. That just goes with all the dark whatever they're wearing these days. I wouldn't know. I don't run in their circles. And they don't want me in them either. Too much of a prude, they say. Well, I find the monsters they summon to be a little bit on the disgusting side. I'd rather keep better company, like cats, dogs, miniature mooses, whatever. Just give me something that doesn't smell rotten and go around going, beans! Or something along those lines. Not all the news was grim and rocky. I had heard from my one and only that she would soon be joining me on this campaign, just as soon as she was fitted for some proper jungle attire. That's probably a good thing. It wouldn't be good if she tore one of her expensive skirts on the plant life or ruined some fancy clothing with some of this sweltering humidity here in the jungle. I applaud her for her practicality. I look forward to the day when she joins me in this fight. We need all the help we can get. Until Lauren can join us with a wave of reinforcements later on, though, we shall work hard to carve out a home for ourselves in this jungle. Just about everything could rise up against us at any moment. Mushrooms, vegetation, the weather can turn sour. Who knows what we are in for as we try to carve out a home for ourselves in Mordramoth's neck of the woods, so to speak. In terms of this campaign, victory cannot come soon enough. Goodmain out.